Hi, I'm Dr. Jim Seaver. It's time for the tropical forecast here on YouTube and Fox 26 Houston. Now, what we're talking about today is actually tropical in the remnants of Pamela that went across Mexico, raced across Texas, and now was pretty much blown away. It's gone. We see a little bit left over here in the Houston area. We've definitely seen some soggy weather in Houston, but boy, we had big storms elsewhere today. As we come in a little bit closer and take a look at the 30-minute radar, overall, we're seeing much less rain to the west of us, which is really good news. But earlier in the day, that blue is 10 inches of rain that fell just to the east of San Antonio. Now, in the Houston area, most of us 1 inch or less, didn't see more than that. It's been kind of a miserable day more than anything for Houston. As you look at the big picture now, that tropical moisture has just been enveloped into both of the systems. The high pressure and the low pressure just kind of squeezed it together. Now we have a bit of a front over Houston, another one behind it. So we're going to see some changing weather. And again, I'm talking about what's left of this tropical system that has really made a difference in southeast Texas for today. Now let's talk about water temperature. And we've been looking at this very carefully. Now remember, anytime when the water temperature is over 80 degrees and it goes down at least several feet in the Gulf of Mexico, then we still have enough energy to produce tropical weather. So we still have temperatures in the 80s, but the temperature of the ocean is continuing to cool a little bit. But the other thing that's different in the Gulf at this time of year is the upper level winds are very strong. And when you have upper level winds that are strong, or we had like that big high pressure that was sitting over us for a couple of days, meaning the air was just being compressed downwards, there really isn't any possibility for a tropical system to develop. Now, why I'm telling you that is that as we move out here, this part of the Atlantic Sea Basin is the only area right now that has even the remotest possibility of anything to develop. But let's look at water temperatures. So once you go from 80s to the 70s, it's a big difference, meteorologically speaking, for the development of tropical weather. Now, you can see subtropical systems forming, and what's different between subtropical and tropical is just how the system forms itself. A tropical system is what we call a warm core system, meaning that there's so much evaporation going on and condensation. So when the water evaporates at the ground, and then when it gets up in the atmosphere, it condenses. The condensing part is warm. That's warming the cloud. And so when you have hot temperatures at the water, a lot more condensation happens. Well, when we start to cool the temperatures down, that changes things as well. So we have what's going on here, plus we still have strong upper level winds in this part of the Atlantic. So as you look at the big picture, now look up here. Do you see this spinning? Now that's an area of low pressure, but that is a cold core low, or we could call it a subtropical low. And what's happening here is kind of similar. The difference is that the upper level winds are shearing. They're working against themselves. So we have the winds going in different directions. So we have the water temperatures beginning to cool. Now, it's still warm enough to support tropical weather from the Bahamas all the way to the Dominican Republic and beyond. But as the water temperature cools, the chances for tropical weather starts to drop somewhat. But in this case, we have that happening a little bit, but we have the strong upper level winds. And now, whatever happens, if this even were to form, there's only a 10% chance anyway. But if it were, it's all moving out to sea at this point. So again, at this point, for the United States, nothing pointed in our direction. However, how interesting that Pamela, which was in the Pacific, made landfall in Mexico, raced across Texas, brought a lot of heavy rainfall, and then is out of here. So tropical weather and the tropical forecast can almost come from any direction when you live in Texas. Of course, it's always a little bit better when it makes landfall in Mexico, then comes towards us. But even then, like today, we had 10 inches of rain just to the east of San Antonio. Glad there's nothing out there to talk about on the tropics, so things are quiet, and that's a good thing. We'll see you next time.